I want to figure out where we're at, and then
Okay.
figure out where we need to be, what we need to focus on between now and delivery time. So, yeah, I mean, in the spirit of just doing something. So, as you know, I'm happy to fill in gaps. Also, I've got the knowledge, and um, this is how I earn my living. So, I'm taking it very seriously. So I can help, and that's really all this is. I just need to know where to help and where to focus. And obviously, there's a limit on the amount I can do relative to the five of you guys. But let's get into it, okay? What I did is I just took the sections, right? The content, status, and owner. And we'll do green, orange, red, because, well, when we could do percentages, we could do anything we want. But basically, it says, okay, where are we
Okay.
and where do we need to be? Um, and how do we get ended? I don't mind being joint owner. This is the whole leaders who serve, slightly different though, in an agile framework where uh, so agile is about self-organizing teams. It's about people working together to accomplish the goals of the sprint, and it's not about kind of more traditional like project management or even management. The idea isn't that one person allocates tasks. So old-fashioned project management, somebody who doesn't necessarily know about what the team is trying to accomplish, uh, breaks down the project into a series of tasks that are interconnected that they don't fully understand, and then allocates those to the team, and then spends the rest of the project asking the team if they finished their task. Does that sound vaguely familiar? And it's about as awful as it is. So we won't be doing that short thing. And it's a very old fashioned way of thinking about things. Anyway, so let's start with the introduction. Um, as you know, I've kind of done a chunk of the introduction, right? But I haven't done all of it. Who do you know? Do you guys have on the document or recorded anywhere who owns which pieces of the introduction?
Oh, Jonathan's doing the
It's
introduction.
Jonathan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. He's in luck, right? Because I did that.
All right.
He's on. Yeah. Who else joined? Did anyone else join? Ah, we've got, hey,
Yeah, I
there's
got the rest of
Kyle
them
and
in.
there's Victor.
Hello.
We're only
Sorry
missing
about
John.
that.
No worries, no worries. We're just going through. What I did is I just pulled out here's the sections, here's the description of what's supposed to be in them, and we're just going through status and owner. Make sense? And
Yep.
then once we know the status and the owner, we can decide whether that's too much, too little, how much work is left. And as I don't know if you heard, I can step into whatever we need to do. As I said, I have some passion, I have some background on a lot of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So let's keep going. Okay, so Jonathan owns the introduction. That I'm going to say that's green because, well, document conventions is not green because I ain't done anything on it, and if I have to, I'll do that, right? But if Jonathan's in friggin', I'm just going to throw something in there. Intended audience, yeah, I can do that, but I haven't seen any of it. If I haven't seen it, I'm going to assume it's not done unless somebody says it's done. Is that reasonable?
Oh yeah.
Because it's law. Okay.
Yeah, and
Um,
he has the entire introduction section.
so product scope, I did a bunch on that. I'm going to call that green. I'm still going to let him be the owner, but I'm just going to call it green.
I
References.
don't think we really need the references section on there.
Um, I don't mind throwing in some of the like you've seen
Yeah.
it, all the just crap, right? So we'll call it orange because I haven't copied and pasted it, but I could, and it wouldn't take much.
Mm-hmm.
So Jonathan gets the boring bits if he wants them, and he can review. Makes sense to me. Okay. Um, he hasn't joined yet, right? Because I'm not looking. I'm obviously looking at this.
Yeah, not yet.
No, not yet.
No.
Okay. Overall description. As you know, I kind of wrote a bunch on that and I sent it out. Who owns this?
That was me.
And
Victor.
who is me?
Victor.
Hey, Victor. Thanks, man.
Mm-hmm.
Victor. Okay. Did you see what I did? And is it useful? And how would you characterize your status
Yeah,
on this?
extremely useful. Yeah, I used a bunch of it. Thank you.
No worries. So let's go through it piece by piece. Product perspective, feel like that's there, nearly
Mhm.
there, orange or green.
I didn't do any of the product perspective because he didn't ask for it in the rubric. I kind of incorporated some of that into the summary.
Good.
Or was there a summary in this? Or into the functionality. I took some of that and put it in there.
Okay. Yeah, because I kind of wrote a bit on this. Describe the context and origin reviews, blah. For example, state where the products follow up, blah. Like that's the thing I did. So I'm going to call that. I wrote a lot on that. I wrote a lot on all that.
And I did functions, so you can make that green.
Operating environment, user classes.
I haven't
User
done the classes or environment yet. Cases, whatever.
Yeah, user classes and characteristics. What I
When
would
I saw
say
what
is,
you wrote.
yeah. So
Yeah.
definitely use that. I'll say it's orange because you're going to take it and do something.
Yeah.
That's
for sure.
reasonable.
Yep, that works.
Operating environment, blah, hardware platform. How about this?
I guess just
Yeah, there's a cut
will
and
just
paste.
be BC. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think there's much that needs to go in that.
No, well, it's just the whole Azure environment, right?
Yeah.
So we can kind of reference that. I'm going to call that.
Because it's not really a hardware platform.
Well,
Since it's a SaaS,
yeah,
software as a service.
true. I mean, what I can share with you, I'll send you some stuff on that. I think I have some stuff on that around just this. But you see, as I said, it's kind of repetitious. Because this communications interfaces.
Yeah, that kind of looks like a use case diagram right there.
Except it's a network diagram.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we can definitely use it because there's users.
Yeah, you
right?
can like draw
There's
stick figures for users and
proxy and away. I'll send that to you all.
Thank you.
On the design and implementation constraints, I haven't written anything on that. But what I would just say is that we're going to be using Power Platform, or that these are the corporate requirements, right? So it's Power Platform, and it's events and extensions, and it's going to be on the BC platform. The other piece that I would like to say in this is XML and HTML will be used for the workflow design and development. And essentially we're just conformant with the platform, but we probably want to be specific about what we're being conformant with, because I think that's what it's looking for there. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. This. I'll take care of this.
Okay.
The reason being that this is kind of my favorite little. Here's where you get the help and internally and externally, and I'll call it orange because I haven't done it yet.
Okay.
What is the difference between this and this?
Let's see. I asked the professor about that.
Yeah.
Did I? I don't think he wrote anything about that on his template or whatever, or the outline.
What I would do is look, just to be able to check the box, right? Just to be able to say, you know what? Let's say, look, this is entirely built on third-party and commercial components.
Yeah, true.
Right? And it's a constraint and it's an assumption and a dependency. And we can say that we are dependent on the stability of Azure AD and Business Central. I mean, it's a bullshit thing. So, I've always believed that one dollop of bullshit deserves another. They balance each other out. If you give me a bullshit question, I will give you a bullshit answer, and the universe will be in balance.
Yeah.
We all good with that?
Yeah.
Yep. Works for me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. External interface, user interfaces. Who owns this one?
I'm external interfaces.
And you're Kyle, right?
Nick.
Nick. See? It's gonna take me a while to recognize your voices. Owner. Got that right, yeah. Okay. So on the UI, I've got like a list of screenshots from Business Central. Would you like them?
Yes, please.
Good. That was the right answer. No, I'm going to do it myself. That was the wrong answer. Cause,
I am not that stubborn.
I'll find it. God damn it, it's here somewhere. One of these. Check it.
One of those.
Oh, I think that one said external interfaces. One more. There you go.
Let's go. I have it in. So yeah, that's screenshot. See, screenshot. See. Now you're going to throw some words in there.
Of course.
Just to say, this is. I'll throw some words in there, and you'll make them pretty. Is that reasonable?
Works for me.
That's what I was doing.
Because then they're your own words.
Yeah.
And 90%, 80% of being successful in a corporate environment is good plagiarism.
Right.
Right.
I agree.
Nobody is paying for you to be completely original.
Right? Nobody can be completely original
paying
anymore.
For an outcome, fast. Preferably that work. Right, just so as you know. So again, this is not, yeah, everybody has their own way of being. You will find that out in the corporate, especially in corporate, and you are entitled to your way of being. However, we all get there in the end. I'm going to call that orange because there's stuff there. Hardware interfaces you just saw. I'm going to finish that off and send it to you. So we'll call that orange. Doing a little bit of luck, Nick. Software interfaces. Software interfaces. I mean, that's kind of repetitious. Again, I'm noticing that a lot of this is repetitious. I don't mind that it is.
Yeah.
On this one, what I would say is that, okay, where have I got that? I've got it here. Is I'm probably just going to do, so this, by the way, is, it's Business Central, right? So there are service connections already, right? I was thinking of just doing, hey, these are some of the things that we'll use, especially common data services. So what we can say is, look, maybe just do that. You can't deny, right, that Microsoft really wants this to be easy, right?
Yeah.
What you end up with, though, is the illusion that it's easy, and the reality that you kind of have to be a good problem solver and work through this crap, right? Because when I go next, right, it's going to search and it's not going to find it. It's going to look for a URL. I'm not going to have one. And that's where Faisal and his team come in. And just, as it turns out, so Faisal has an Azure SQL database that's set up, and then we all have to work out the connectivity, because even though it's in the Azure environment, there's just a surprising amount of extra effort to what looks like something very simple. I'll put that in a screenshot and send it. I'll include that in the little document I'm about to send you. Okay.
Sure.
And again, no, oh, cry not loud. Yes, I am sure. Okay. Going back to where I was. Okay, that's going to be orange as well. Yeah, you saw, I mean, that's pretty much like the networking thingy. So the communications will call that orange as well because it's going to be part of it. Okay, system features. That's okay. Yes, who's doing that?
That should be me, I think, right?
Yeah, it's mainly functional requirements. Yeah.
And, and that was
Kyle.
Kyle, yeah.
grand. Okay, good. There's I owe you, Kyle. So first of all, there's the Tetris thing. So yes, there's a lot of features, and yes, you can probably copy from, kind of the focus thingy, the functional diagram,
Yeah.
and the kind of reference it or copy it or whatever. But there are two pieces that I want more. I want more on, please. I'm going to call them orange because however much or little we can get, great. One is the Tetris kind of scheduler. And there are probably, forgotten the right word. Oh, design patterns, right? Design patterns for scheduling, or just, have some thoughts about how to visualize a multi-dimensional schedule, right? And also how we're going to present that information. Just have a think about it. And then the other piece that I owe you is the, I had it up there. It's what I want to do is I'm trying to get JPS to be our actual end customer. And we can talk to the CEO and a few other folks and try to get them to tell us what they really want and need. But they had give us a quote, right? And they prompted for certain data, right? Mm-hmm. What I want to do is be able to, functionally, I want to be able to say where that data is going to be, how that data is going to be presented in BC, right? Mm-hmm. And then the final piece of that requirement is to say, it could be generate quote. Yeah, actually, it's going to be a button or something that says generate quote, right? But in the meantime, I would like to generate quote, but also calculate cost, right? So those are going to be two buttons, or two prompts for action. One is generate quote, the other is calculate cost.
Okay. What would the difference be there?
Well, a quote is going to be a formal document. So it's probably going to include a template. It's going to have the customer name. It's going to have lines of detail. Whereas cost is just going to be, it could be cost and duration, right? So a quote is kind of a document, and it has form and it has presentation. Whereas cost is a number and duration is a number. And so that's really the difference between the two. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the reason I'm asking is because sometimes I don't, right? Because I have a lot of context in my head, and you don't have all that context. So it is perfectly feasible for me to say something and for you to go, yeah, Ian, that really what you just said. Right. And then I get to explain it. So don't, that isn't a rhetorical question. Performance requirements. I wrote something up on performance requirements. Who owns this one, by the way?
That's me. I'm doing performance, safety, security, and quality.
And
I've got
Hunter. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So I got the first 4 on there, and then Nick has the last.
I have the last 3.
Yeah. I know the last 3 aren't on there. Business rules is one of them, but there's 2 more. Environmental and legal and social as well. Yeah, so environmental requirements and legal and social requirements are on there as well.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's start with the top one, performance requirements. So I kind of did something on that. Did you see it, Hunter?
Yeah, yeah. I put a whole bunch on there. So I have like maybe right now I have like 5 requirements for like each section so far. Some of them have like 6. So
On the security, I have some additional elements on that, but you probably took the PDFs, or did you? Or
yeah, I went through and added on there. So I think my sections are pretty much done. I added what I could think of on there. I try not to like overlap each one since
I
there
got you.
was. Yeah, so I have like maybe like a total of 20 or so requirements for my sections altogether.
Wow. Okay, good.
I try to not make them very similar. I try to make them different since there was a bunch of stuff.
So the only thing I would say about the security requirements, security privacy issues, would
Yeah.
be, are you aware of the nav components to nav BC components to do with permission sets and user groups and permissions?
Yeah, so I think I have should have user authentication, allow certain users in and whatnot for security.
But it's a
Something
bit
similar.
more than that. It's a bit more than that, because I'll send you some of this. But yeah, I've got the screenshot. I'll send you the screenshot. It would be important to include that. Nav has, or BC has a capability around, and I know you've got some good stuff, but definitely I would like to do a little bit more on that one.
On security, okay.
Specifically, I'll find it. I know there's DMZ. DMZ is worth a little mention.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna run to the restroom.
Yeah, no. So I just want to be able to just additional stuff.
Okay, we can make that one orange then.
Yeah.
Quality's pretty much done too. Put like data portability, easy to maintain, easy to use, adaptable, using multiple tools and whatnot.
But which one?
No, that's for quality.
Yeah. I mean, which tools did you say would be needed to make it?
Probably like different Microsoft tools because there's a lot.
Yeah.
Mainly Microsoft tools and like SAFE and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I mentioned since there's quite a lot of different tools.
Sure.
It has to be adaptable.
Yes, definitely. Okay, business rules and environmental. That's who's that?
Those 3 is Nick.
How would you characterize those, Nick?
No, I think he just left.
Oh yeah, he went to the bathroom. Okay.
I guess legal and social will probably be similar to security in a way.
Yeah.
But more like probably policy and stuff, maybe.
You've got SOX, which should be mentioned, which is only if they're listed. Social. I don't know. But anyway, I mean, it's not that I don't.
I'm back.
Nick, you've got these 3 as well? Business
Correct.
rules, environmental.
Yeah, business rule, legal, social, and environmental.
Would you say they're orange, red, green?
I have not started on them yet. So, red, I guess.
Well, yeah. I mean, it doesn't mean that they can't get done. It just means.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of okay. List any operating principles such as individual rules. I mean, the roles and individuals will be in the users anyway. Not function requirements. Yeah. To me, a user class and a role are the same thing. I don't know why you would define a user class to be something other than the role of the person doing the using. And again, that may just be because in an agile approach rather than an OOD, OOP, you don't, OOD tends to have a level of abstraction that is a little out of fashion at the moment. And whereas role-based security, role-based, I guess I want to, let me kind of show you what I'm talking about. Okay, user groups. There's your task groups. So these are user groups, right? So you've got accountant. Where are you? Come on now. You're messed. Yeah, basic. Yeah, I'm not getting, this is not behavior. Do this. Come on. Business manager. This is not what I'm looking for. These are not good user groups. So we'll have to create some. That's not good either. Have you ever noticed that when you're like in the middle of something, you're like, okay, well, yeah, I know who the users are. It's just not helping me. We were just there. I was just there earlier. Now I can't find it. Maybe I've filtered it. Maybe it's under profile. Let's try profile. Okay, roles, profiles. That's what I was looking for. Okay. So these are, like, you have accounting manager, AP coordinator, AR administrator, right? Bookkeeper, business manager. Each of these is a role center. In other words, they're presented with certain information. And each of these has a set of functionalities, but they also have they generally, you want your user groups to match your role, and then the user groups to have a set of permissions. And now we can go. So you can see that there's like different, like fairly standard setups, right? So there's machine operator, outbound technicians. Role center is 9013, so that's the role center. Usually within the role center, it's interesting how this is slightly different than I'm used to. What I'm used to is that in addition to like machine operator role center, you'll have a machine operator user group, right? We'll go into user group, take a look. Here's that gives you. Which is why, right? So if I go into, oh, you are so not behaving. So permit. Yeah. So it has these three permission sets. Each of the permission sets has permission. Go and look at the permission. It's just gonna kill me here. Eh, I'm having a hard time finding my permission. I did earlier, but I'm just having a hard time now.
It's always the last place you look.
It is a bit. It is a bit. This is just so annoying, though. Yes. Come on. No, I don't want to do that. I can show you. Here we go. Anyway, it gets down to field and it gets down to table and field level. There we go, table data. So you see how each of these has, these are the permissions associated with this permission set. And a user group has multiple permission sets associated with it. So it kind of layers up. And then within this, well, somehow I need to be able to do this. Come on, dude. Yeah, I don't want to. So within, this says, hey, I've got table data access to its. That's just.
Excuse me.
To the GL entry table.
Mm-hmm.
That's the object. But then I get to the actual permissions within that, and it can be read, write, or update. So you can see that there's a lot of complexity to the security inside the application. And the reason that matters is that that's how you control access to who gets to do what in BC and in the different aspects of BC. And without proper setup there, you either give people too much permission or too little permission. So this screen kind of, that's a really important aspect of the setup. Like who gets access to banking. The other, so you've got SOX. Part of SOX is SOD, which is SOD, which is separation of duties. Those things kind of matter.
Makes sense.
So, they kind of matter. They're vital. They matter an awful lot. So that might go into either legal and social or business rules, or it can go into security. Whatever. Privacy. Certain people with certain roles would not have read access to certain. Right. Now, at the same time, you don't want to lock read access because then you'd be surprised at how these things are interconnected. So again, for the purposes of, getting the grade, that's one thing. But as we get into it, it's quite another.
Right.
Right. Okay. So I think the actions for me are just to complete some of those documents and send them out. So I will do that, especially as I mentioned around security. And then I think some of the security, then the UI screenshots. And is there anything else that I was supposed to?
There's other requirements, but that's when all the other requirements are done.
Yeah, good. Power BI.
I also have that part.
Okay. So what we're saying is there's no major gaps. Guys, it's us. It's what? Just barely Sunday afternoon. The deliverables Tuesday.
Yeah.
What help? Asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. What help? What kind of additional things do we want from each other, or do you want from me?
I think in the rubric he says there's like at the very bottom there's like an other requirements thing. I don't know if that's an optional thing if we want to add stuff in, or I'm not sure.
I have one on there right now on the actual
okay, so
document. I only have one.
Okay, I see it. Yeah.
I just mentioned like PowerPal specifically.
Yeah.
Like PowerPals should have access to modify what they need or whatever on there for now. For other
Yeah.
requirements, because can't really think of where that should go on the non-functional requirements, so I just put that down there.
Makes sense. I guess the other requirements too could be the fact that this being a reference system, we want to have additional documentation that would allow a team like this one, like the one we have, so we'll say we want an implementation guide, or a setup checklist for the print industry, right? So let's make those two other requirements: an implementation guide and a setup checklist, because they would both be rather useful.
So implementation guide and checklist, you said?
Yeah, setup checklist, specific for the print industry, because God knows Microsoft has lots of generic ones, and that's really the biggest. I would almost put that somewhere. The challenge is that Microsoft has, or that there is a large amount of generic documentation and general information. What's missing is something that's actionable, specific and actionable for a particular size of company in a particular industry. And a big part of the value that we're adding is that.
Okay, yeah, I added those two on there. Should have an implementation guide and should have a checklist set up. Okay.
Is he going to want more words than that, or is that all?
It's just saying what the system should have or whatnot. It's just other requirements. I'm just kind of wording it similar to what the non-functional requirements is like. I don't know how he wants it to be worded. Like if he wants it to be worded similar to like functional requirements or non-functional.
Well, and it's much more. It's so, and I guess let's see it all together. I think if the purpose of this is, well, there's two things. One, however the prof wants it worded, obviously we want to make sure his needs are met first.
Yeah.
But then, as a business document, I'll probably take a good hard look at it, and kind of have it worded as I perceive. Well, I guess I have 30 years of experience writing and reading business documents
the right way.
I'll make sure it's kind of worded that way, because that does you the service of it being a business document.
Yeah.
Okay, good. We have a meeting. Sounds like everybody has stuff to do. I'll send out the stuff I have. Be all good to meet tomorrow then, and just kind of finalize it. And I guess is he traveling back, or is he staying? Or does anyone know?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I know his grandma's sick or something like that.
Oh, sorry to hear that. I'm very sorry. That explains a lot. Okay. It's kind of a ready break situation, isn't it? I mean, I'll send out the spreadsheet just now.
Yeah.
That way you guys can see where it's orange. And then I'll get my actions done before I go on a walk. But that will be in the next 45 minutes to an hour, because I'm almost done with them. And then, please, if you're stuck on something, or you have a question, or you're like, hey, I could really do with more input, just send me an email. I value that, because it allows me to help with sufficient time for it to be helpful.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're all kind of this. We're all in the same boat, as in this is the boat and we're in it. So it's not like. And don't forget, I'm not grading you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's the prof's job.
Yeah.
I am endeavoring to get a nice piece of development done for Faisal that we can demo, and that you guys can use on your resumes and point to and have at least 2 or 3 references, and we may even get a sale out of it. And if we do, that's paid work. You know what I mean? So I have some thoughts on that. I'll share them with the group, and you can let me know your thoughts. I don't think I want to distract you with that until we get our first deliverable in, which will be on Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Well, any questions? Any thoughts? Any comments? Anything else we should talk about? And at some stage, I am not going to do all the talking on these meetings.
Yeah.
I did have a question.
Yes.
It's kind of like a meta off-topic question, but like, as far as like agile goes, like where would this SRS be like in place if in an agile environment? Like we wouldn't even be doing something as big of a document like this, right?
We wouldn't. Now,
like in the typical scenario.
Well, you see, and that is the so.
Because they've taught us like nothing but like waterfall stuff.
Take a look at. Oh, you can't.
Okay.
Yeah. The safe, is that the safe diagram?
It is. I think. Did I send you a link to that?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes. So first of all, Agile tends to focus on, and I'm using my air quotes here, development.
Yeah.
So what we would be doing at the moment is more of a where is it? Kind of vision roadmap. So this is kind of a vision roadmap definition. It's what you got is you can't see it, or I'd show it to you. The blurry thing is great as far as it goes, but it's not letting me show you things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm holding up a piece of paper in front of me, and all you can see is a blank.
Right.
Yeah. But I'll. So, how do I want to? So first of all, some non-agile artifacts are still useful. Would we do something as big as this? No.
Yeah.
Would we at the same time describe system features? Absolutely.
Yeah. It just wouldn't be put together as like this, right? Like a huge document.
And I'm trying to get to, because we have these, and they're called things, because there's a pre-sprint planning. There's and I've forgotten what it's called, but it'll come to me just as I hang up. And I'm now looking at that. For God's sake, what's it called? It's called something or other. I honestly, to a certain extent, mildly hate these things. They're big-ass meetings in which we all get together, and it's called something. And what is it called? For God's sake, come on, tell me what it's called. As you can see, I have expunged that from my head because I don't enjoy them. But just describe implementation. Anyway, I am actually Lean Agile certified, but as you can tell,
is it like a Scrum meeting or something?
Oh no! Scrum is a daily standard.
Those are the daily things, yeah.
Then sprint planning is what you do at the end of the beginning of a sprint, and you also have a sprint retrospective at the end of a sprint. But when you're a corporate and you're doing SAFe, which is
that's
scaled agile for the enterprise, there's another meeting, which is even bigger and altogether better and wonderful, especially if the PMO is in charge of it. I don't have a ton of time for PMOs, but I understand. Well, I say that. No, yeah. I mean, they're a necessary evil, as long as they understand their place, which is to facilitate. But generally, they think that it's a whole different thing. As I said, when I hang up, I'll find the word. But it's where everybody gets together for 3 to 5 days, and they plan out the next program increment. I think it's called a program increment, a PI. So this would be a program planning. Yeah, PI planning. There you go, program increment planning. And that's where kind of everybody gets together, and you can use a Kanban. I'm not a fan of Kanban, but it's more that, so what we're doing is really a program increment. These general topics would be in a program increment, right? Because you want to coordinate your infrastructure folks with your security folks. You usually have cross-functional deliverables. You're breaking the teams down, and then, you're doing that. But this document, for the size of the team and for what we're undertaking, is a little overkill.
Right, I agree.
C2, it's a little bit unnecessary in many ways.
Yeah.
Because it's redundant.
I don't know why they teach us like this.
Well, because why not, right?
Yeah.
To be honest, the state of safe and agile and stuff is moving so fast, it would be difficult to develop a course for it.
Yeah.
But the good news for you guys, for PowerPals, is since I'm in the middle of it, and this is how I know how to develop software, and because myself and Faisal and a few others were putting together kind of a new approach, you're on the leading/bleeding edge of the current state of thinking. That's good and bad. Good is, we'll have all the buzzwords on your resumes. The bad is, it's not a smooth running, perfectly thought through, beautifully documented set of methodologies.
Right.
However, what I would share with you is, when you get out into the business, you'll find that very few things are, and the ones that are, it's because they have just all the time and money in the world to not do much. That was my opinion. There's things like agile release trains and solution trains. There's lots of trains for some reason. And, release train engineers. And again, I know there's the thing, software engineering, and I don't completely hate software engineering. I do think it's something of an engineering discipline, but I think that there's a little bit too much pseudoscience thrown at what is still something of a craft. That's, again, my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah.
Good for you. Well, and again, you don't have to.
No, yeah.
Because shit, man. Okay, good. So I do think we need to finalize the document. Our real audience for this document is Faisal. And I guess myself, but as I say in the agenda of this meeting, I want this to be actionable. And I think the areas that are actionable are the security areas and setup, because the next step, and I'd like you to have a think about it, but I don't want you to get too distracted. So several things. Right. One, this isn't really how I like to do projects, not because so let me articulate really badly, but I'll do my best to be as awful as possible. What I'm saying is that a project isn't a set of discrete steps, right? It isn't that, at the moment what we're doing is we're doing one thing and we're focused on that one thing. But, and this happens in projects, and it's like, oh, well, we've done the design now, it's done, it's good. And then people don't read the design, and they don't put the design together with the intention of actually using it. They get too focused on it being a deliverable that gets evaluated as a deliverable, and forget why they're doing it. You see what I'm trying to tell you?
Yeah.
So if this document is a starting point, it's a set of definitions. If we can't pull from this document and rely on this document, then it becomes an exercise, right? I can't think of a worse use of time than engaged in it. I know some of us are in college and blah, 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 but what I would always do, because you see that too with projects, right? And you see that in corporations, in businesses, where it's like, well, the PMO says I have to do this document. So I'm going to do this document. The PMO is going to evaluate the document, and then we'll go off and we'll code. And it's like, well, lads, why did we do the document? Oh, because the PMO told us to. And it's like, no, we did the document so we can actually expletive use it for the next step.
Exactly. Yeah.
What we're not doing, and that's why I say we're not doing, because, we need to get more proactive. We need to start looking ahead. We need to start understanding the things we're being asked to do and how we can leverage the effort required to do them. Because God knows you'll always have to be compliant to somebody's belief and understanding, is how we can use those, right? So what I've been doing in the background, and not telling you I was doing, big reveal is, okay, these are different pieces. We're going to need somebody to set up the chart of accounts. I wonder who will do that. Probably whoever is doing different features. We're going to have somebody do the security, because that's going to define the roles. And with the roles are going to come the role centers. With the role centers are going to permission sets. That's absolutely vital, because fundamentally that sets up people we will identify in day in the life in user scenarios. User scenarios being, okay, Mr. Person who's buying our software, would you like to see how you can make money? Okay, let's give you a quote, because, quote to cash. Cash, I like cash. And then, hey, Mr. Accounting guy, how much do you enjoy? Because I will tell you that an awful lot of finance folks, how much do you enjoy being up till midnight, 3 days in a week, 3 days a month, or 5 days a month, sweating whether you have your numbers right and whether you can close? And they'll go, I don't enjoy it very much. Well, here's how we're going to make that easier, right? All those things are user scenarios that we want to focus on in terms of constructing, and I'm using my air quotes here, constructing the system. Because I have a very, very, very broad definition of developing. Developing is not coding. Developing is to be tautological, developing. That requires an awful lot more than just coding. And it does require some coding. So that's really what this document that we're all putting together is going to be the reference for that. It's going to have taken some of this vast universe of Microsoft, some of the key areas, and it's going to be highlighting those for us. So I expect that we'll use this document. And that's why I would, as you're kind of constructing it, think, how will I use this? Yes, I want to be compliant, but how am I going to, in the next phase, the next step, which is the actual creation, how am I going to use it? And so have a little think about that as you're writing it. You know what I'm saying? If only for your own sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. But great question.
Thank you.
So we're doing a program increment. And this is a program increment artifact. See how we can use the big words to justify the effort?
Yeah, for sure.
But it is actually, it's not a terrible thing. Okay. Good. See how, now, any other questions? And I promise not to wax frigging philosophical on the next one.
That was all I had.
Yeah, it's pretty good, I think.
That was all I had, yeah.
Okay, excellent. So I'm going to grab a cup of tea, do the couple of pieces that I'm doing. I think, Nick, you got to go to work, and then we'll get back together tomorrow
at 10.
At 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
Cheers, guys.
All right.
Have a
Bye.
good one.
Yeah,
Thanks.
good to see you. Bye-bye.